Hi everyone, I'm Michael, and I've just ordered this Kizer GPB1, and I love it. The specifications say that it's 3.5-inch blade, but it is a good size. And in my opinion, it's pretty lightweight. It's over 7 ounces, but I have a titanium frame lock proponent, and I have a Andre de Villers, the Badlands Bowie, and they're heavier than this, and I'll show you a size comparison a little later, but this is in that ballpark with the other two in terms of size, but it's lighter, and it's really a smooth knife. So we are going to anodize this. We're going to do a blue handle. Hopefully we can get that color. We're going to do the cheap method using some 9-volt batteries, and I'll go through that process, and wish me luck. I've never anodized before, so we're going to see how it comes out. I just gave these a bath using some cleaner, and one thing I noticed is that you got these little areas here, right there, and actually the bigger circle, so it's the little shallow indent there between the lock bar and the pivot. That's actually a little depression. I'm not sure what that is. And then here we've got a big area, right? The entire pivot minus this little wedge in the back there, and that's a depression. And I'm not sure what that is, but it's part of the design. Thought I'd show it. And it looks like instead of the pivot compressing against the frame entirely, it's actually grabbing a couple of wedges. So interesting. This one has the ability to move more, and this one I think doesn't have that ability. I also noticed it's not D-shaped, and so what I think this is, I think this little wedge here grabs that bigger side of the pivot to keep it from turning, and this one has a mostly flat interface with a little bit of relief, and I think that's because this side has the screw head that's supposed to turn. There we go. We've got our polish applied to the detent ball. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll head into the acid bath. I'm going to be using something that everyone will be angry at me for, but I have a reason. I'm going to use muriatic acid. And the reason we're using it is because I'm using batteries, so I don't want that brilliant blue that we're going to be getting from using 3 9-volts. I don't want sky blue. I want it to be a little darker, so I'm gonna do a okay job on the etching and hope that I can hit that dark color. Nail polish is nice and dry. I'm gonna throw this in the muriatic acid here. Got both scales in my muriatic acid, and I'm going to leave them in there for 2 hours now. It's been 2 hours, and I'm going to move the scales from my acid bath. Let them stay a little wet there. And we're gonna move them into the deionized water. Okay, I've got my 9 volts Here is my deionized water with my knife scales. I can still see the nail polish is intact over the detent. That's great. I've got my baking soda in this container. I have my aluminum foil, and I have deionized water. And of course, we've got some extra baking soda. We've got gloves, and then I've got my leads and my titanium wire there. All right, we got the cathode hooked up. Negative side, 3 AA batteries. I just did a test on the titanium wire, and we have 1 9-volt turning the tip gold. You can see to the left of my finger it's gold, and to the right that part didn't get submerged. So now we're going to try it with 3 batteries and the knife scales. All right, we've got the first knife scale hooked up, and we're going into solution. There we go, we're getting a yellow. I'll pull it up. And now we're getting a dark blue. See that dark blue? It's like almost a purple. And I'm gonna leave it in there until it's done. I'm going from purple to a little bluer. A little bluer. We've got a very deep blue going. All right, scale number 2, show side is going in. We're connected, and instantly you see the bubbles going. We've got a gold color here. You see that? And go back in. Ran out of daylight today. We're purple now. Now let's go to blue. Let's go to blue. The main thing is I just can't touch that aluminum foil. 3, 2, 1. Got a gorgeous color there. Really pretty deep blue. All right, one last piece, and here I'm doing this with the help of the my wife here, and I'm doing this piece because this is the knife that I had when I met her, and so I'm restoring it. She does lighting, she does camera work, she does budgets. She's very good at budgets. There we go. The parts are drying out, and the little spots you see are just water. It's drying off. It's deionized water. Everything is drying beautifully. It's coming out uniform. I know every time I touch this knife I'll probably get a spot like that, but I really like that color. I really like that color. So this wire I was a little nervous about because it's 24 gauge isn't very thick, but you saw how fast it worked. Did a fantastic job. $7.99 next day shipping on Amazon. Hard to beat. First thing we do is remove the nail polish. And there it is. We have a nice, smooth, undamaged ceramic ball. All right, everything's dry, and it's time to put everything back together. There we go, final result. We'll get some better lighting in a second, but right now, I want to show you. I measured this pivot, by the way, and this barrel's about 6 inches across. And I can also see the purpose of this little shelf here on the frame is to lock this so it's not a deep pivot, but also it's designed not to rotate, which I think is really cool. So you can index it, pushes in, and that's done. That is not going to rotate. Okay, I've got all of my washers and my screws off to the side. I'm going to start off by putting in that pin there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of oil off to the side here. Just a little bit of oil. There we go. We've got one washer, one Teflon, one washer. And we've got our blade. And again, notice that that pin is not a stop pin. It actually prevents the knife from going into the standoffs there. So I love that. I love that the knife frame is what stops the knife. All right, we're gonna add another washer there. Teflon. One more washer. And then let's put the standoffs. Again, they're indexed. Set this off to the side for a second. I'm going to put in my lock bar insert. It's the smallest little screw, and it's the one that makes me the most nervous about falling. So I'm going to get this out of the way so my blood pressure can go down. There we go. Again, this is a T7. And that is in. The little discolorations you see are the oils from my hands. Blue, I've heard, tends to be prone to showing fingerprints. There we go. I don't want to make this crazy tight, but I want it tight. And it's tight. And I'm happy there. All right. It's feeling good. Everything's lining up. I left my penny outside. really like this pivot because it's nice and snug without even being tight. It's as you screw in the screw, you feel tension. You feel the tension of the screw grabbing that other piece in the back. And it's not because it's tight, it's because it fits well. So I think what I need to do is to add the body screws here. With my T8. Go right into the standoffs there. That's nice and tight. And now that's nice and tight. I was tempted to anodize more, but I really love that color. Silver and blue and gray. I think it's a good complement, all of it. So I don't think I'm going to add any more color to this. I'm happy with this color. And I was really surprised at how easy it was to anodize. Didn't have to do anything extraordinary, but I think these are pretty amazing results. Centering is dead center. That's the sound of the most important tool dropping to the ground. The penny. All right, what do you think? I love it. I really like it. I really like it. That's a pretty knife. And it is a smooth knife. I'm going to make a little more space, and then we're going to talk about the size, show it next to some other knives, and show the smoothness. This one's a giant tank. This guy is a similar size. How big is this Badlands Bowie? That's about 9 and almost a quarter, but not quite. So I really love this Kizer. And in comparison to all my other knives, I would put it in the same category as these other two, but there's a practicality that you get with all of this heavy-duty hardware. And something that can ride around in your pocket. And I'm definitely going to be going around with this quite a bit. It's not a really snappy flipper. You can't really fling it out. But it is incredibly smooth. And this is kind of neat. That's fun. It's a heavy blade. Detent is not super strong, but I like it. Makes it buttery. This thing, you've got to apply a crazy amount of pressure, and that'll come flying out. But you have to charge this. Same thing on this. You have to flick your wrist. It's a totally different feel. These are snappy. This one's a little smoother than that. These are both snappy. But this is buttery. Very different. And if you're in the pocket, you can make that happen. That's pretty cool. Takes a little inertia, takes a little bit of a wrist flick, but can you do it? Yes. Reliably, probably not, but it's cool that you can. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I'm very happy. I will be anodizing again in the future. Had a great experience with it. And if you're ever shopping on Blade HQ, White Mountain Knives, if you're ever on your Smoky Mountain Knife Works and you see a knife and you say, if they only had it in that color, you can actually do this with some baking soda, some 9 volts, and yeah, you can get pretty creative. So good luck, and leave me a comment. I want to know what you think of this knife. This Kizer Graze Pocket Brute #1. Take care.